Okay, we can just do a pod.
Let's do a pod. Let's pod a cast, because this is like the first time we've ever done this. I mean, it's not like we don't have experience or anything. I mean, here we are podcasting.
No, you're a professional podcaster.
I'm a professional who's been monkeying with his systems, and there's certain things in this world that are probably should not be messed with a lot, and one of them is recording equipment when you don't really have any audio engineering background at all.
Yeah, never touched the setup ever. Mine hasn't moved for 3 years.
No, I know. I'm right with you on that one. I mean, I usually get the dials, like I had them right where I wanted them for years, and I never touched them even for half a second. And now I bought this new Sound Devices Mix Pre 3.2, which is quite a mouthful. And it's pretty cool, but there's a little bit of a getting familiar period that you got to deal with when you get something new like this. So we started recording, and I did not hear you, and that's because actually I screwed up. It's my own fault. It was human error, as they say, and it was human error that was based on the fact that I was screwing around in Audio Hijack, and I deleted some blocks that made sound go to my headphones, which, sound to your headphones is a good thing to have when you're recording a podcast.
It's definitely useful to be able to hear me as well.
Yeah, you just went away, so I could hear myself.
Yeah, well, I'm here
monologues. Monologues on a two-person podcast don't work that well.
No, well, I'm here now, and I'm here to tell you you remember the KFC Crocs?
Yes,
you can buy them now. Wow, I don't know if you're actually. I think actually they went on sale yesterday. They're probably sold out now.
I should have looked. Do you know how much they cost?
They were $60, which I don't think is. I don't know what Crocs cost normally, but that doesn't seem that bad.
I guess I don't know how much they cost either. However, for hunks of plastic sitting on your feet, I'm not so sure that $60 is worth the price. However, not only do they look like buckets of chicken, I have read that they smell like chicken too.
I mean, that's what you want. I was thinking to myself today, why don't my shoes smell of a food? That's
Well, I mean, it's perfect for a hot summer day. Crocs are kind of that sort of shoe. They're kind of like a sandal. So you throw those on, your feet get a little hot and sweaty. You take off your shoes and you're wondering why you're so hungry. It's because your feet now smell like fried chicken.
Exactly.
I would not suggest getting these if you have like a large dog that likes things like chicken, because you never know. Dog might, you couldn't really blame the dog if he came over and started gnawing on your feet.
Yeah, I guess, that is a bit of a hazard for these. $3 is going towards a charity of some kind, the KFC Foundation. I'm not sure exactly what that is, but, so you get some
Home
shoes.
for flightless birds or something like that.
Right, like you're getting some shoes that you're never going to want to wear. And but you're also giving some money, so it's not so bad.
Yeah, well, see, that might tip the balance for me right there. I mean, I can feel good about myself while I'm wearing my KFC shoes.
Right, exactly.
Well, that's good. I mean, now, Rob, do those little chicken wings on the toes of these shoes, are those real? Are those part of the shoes, or is that just part of the marketing? I've never quite decided if that was really part of the shoe or not.
Yeah, because I feel like we had this conversation when they originally showed these, whenever it was, like last year or something.
We did, and I was convinced that it was part of the shoe, I think.
Yeah, and I think I'd looked at it and thought it wasn't, but now I'm seeing this picture, I think they are part of the shoe, because this is it's a different picture to last time, but it's still chicken is still there. So I'm this is part of the shoe.
You dug into the Ruminate archives and found the original picture. I'm very impressed with your work ethic.
Yes, I will. I'll link the other episode in the show notes and try and find the original link if I can.
Well, the reason, here's the thing. It's like you've seen fake food. You go to some display in a store or something back when people would go to stores, and you'll see some fake food. This definitely looks like fake food to me. This looks like plastic fried chicken, not like real fried chicken.
Yeah, this is the kind of thing they've got like on display at IKEA, underneath the sort of the weird Xboxes and PlayStations that they have that don't actually have the branding on, but they look exactly like what they're supposed to.
Right. They're just like these like lightweight plastic shells that sit on a shelf or something near the TV.
Right, exactly.
All right. Well, okay. Well, look, I don't know. For science, maybe this is something that one of us needs to own. You're right. $60 is not a huge investment. I mean, it would probably be the biggest investment we've ever made monetarily for Ruminate. So there is that. There is that. That's like, 2 years worth of hosting fees.
Right, exactly.
But, people want to know how smelly are the smelly chicken shoes. I will look into it, Rob. It's on my list. It's in OmniFocus now, and I will do my weekly review. I don't do that stuff. Just so you know, just for the record, I don't do that. I don't buy into that whole GTD stuff.
No. My GTD system is just doing the things I need to do.
That is, the problem is that doesn't sell books, Rob.
It wouldn't be a very. It would. My whole book would just be: do you have things to do? You should do them.
It's like start with the first thing you need to do, then move on to the second thing, and so on and so forth. Yes, it's like one paragraph. Rob on GTD. Just do it. Just do it after all. Anyway, all right. So that's GTD right there. Productivity 101. We have video game news because Xbox had their event, and I know you watched it. I was telling you before we started that I started watching this. It was let's see. I think it was late last week, and it was like middle of the morning my time, and I turned it on a few minutes late, and I saw scenes of Halo, and I immediately thought, well, that doesn't look any better than an Xbox 360. And then something happened I had to deal with for Mac Stories, and so I stopped the stream and I never went back to it. So tell me that there was something better than what I saw of Halo.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't actually watch the event live. I just went through and watched all the trailers and stuff.
Well, that's probably smart. Those things tend to be a little long, and you have to go through all the fluff too,
Yeah. There's Fable, which I think people are excited about. It's not something I've ever played, so I don't really care. But that seems to be a big one that people are excited about. Hellblade 2. I still haven't played Hellblade, so I'm glad there's a sequel, but I'm not that excited yet. And then there's another Forza game, which you would expect. You expect both consoles to have a new racing game to, show off, I guess, what the console can do. I'm just looking through this list, and there just was nothing that interesting at all, to be honest.
Yeah, it didn't. It wasn't the kind of event, and I mean, I didn't watch most of it, but having kind of followed the headlines and things afterwards, it wasn't the kind of thing that got me excited and wanting to buy an Xbox by any stretch.
No, I think, and it's fine. These consoles aren't really out yet, and I think.
Right.
If I step back and look at the PlayStation event, sort of, now we're 5 weeks after, there's really only a couple of games I actually care about that came out of that event. But I think, I don't know, maybe it was just the way the event was put together because I actually watched it live, but everything just felt a bit more exciting and like, we've got a new console and look what it can do. Like, whereas the Xbox one just felt like, oh, we've got some more games. You like games. Here's some more of them.
Right. Yeah, it's interesting because, I guess Xbox kind of got out in front of the news with the console for a while at the beginning, and maybe it was just a little too early and everybody's a little bored with it and they haven't really been able to keep up the pace. I do kind of wonder when we're going to get the rest of the details, when the rest of the story finally comes out for both of these consoles and the games, because before long we're going to be heading into the holiday season, which presumably they both come out sometime around, I don't know, late October, early November, so that people can buy them for the holidays. I'm very curious about the pricing. I think it's going to be a pretty expensive proposition that's going to probably prevent a lot of people, except diehard fans, from buying both.
Oh yeah, I mean, even I had both this generation and the last generation, like before that, as and I'm just not sure I'm going to do it this time because I haven't. I haven't seen anything that exciting from the X. I mean, they sort of tout all the teraflops and computers they've got inside it. I don't know.
Right.
It's really fast, I guess. Same with the PlayStation. I don't really care. Just show me cool games. But I'm not going to buy a console just on the basis that it's got some cool components in it that do some things. Until I see some cool games, it really doesn't matter how fast or how slow the actual console itself is.
Right. Yeah, it always comes down to the games. And I think Sony's kind of got the lead there right now, but I do want to see more. I think it's we have both systems for this generation too now, but we didn't have an Xbox for a very long time. It wasn't until, basically the current gen Xbox was on its way out that we picked one up, because they got some pretty good deals now. And I assume that will be the case again eventually with the next generation one, but it usually takes a couple of years before that's really true.
Yeah, I mean, I look at my Xbox, I've got my Xbox and I've got the games I've got for it, and most of the games I have for it are cross-platform. I kind of just bought them for Xbox if they were the cheaper version compared to the PS4. There's only really 2 games, I think, that are exclusives, and that's Sunset Overdrive and Rare Replay. And Rare Replay is a bunch of old games that I've got a lot of anyway from other consoles. So,
right,
I can't really look at the games that I've got and think, oh yeah, that was a good investment, because really I only got sort of access to 2 games out of it. If you're only buying one console, I think it's different, because obviously cross-platform, you just buy the one that you've got. But if you've got both, I feel like you need a few more exclusives to really make it worthwhile.
Yeah, I think what finally tipped the balance for us and why we got the Xbox was that they do have the advantage when it comes to those subscription services that also cross over to the PC. And my son has a Windows gaming PC, and I think that subscription, 90% of the use it gets is on the PC side. It's not on the Xbox side, but it's still nice to have the Xbox, because there are, with those subscriptions, you get a lot of games that you can just download as part of the subscription for no extra cost. I hesitate to say free, because it's not free by any stretch, but yeah, so we've got those, and we bought a few other games. But for the most part, the reality is, I think in our household now, the Switch gets by far more use than anything else. We don't, other than the PC, which I don't play PC games, but my son does. I really just play the Switch now, and lately that's been Mario Paper, which is Mario Paper. I'm going to make you edit that. I'm going to make you edit that right there, okay? It's Paper Mario. All right. Paper Mario is pretty good. Haven't played it a lot yet. I've been kind of busy lately, but it's just another one of those great Nintendo games that isn't super hard, but it's fun, and there's a lot of, it's very, I find a lot of those games very relaxing. It's a little bit like Animal Crossing, but Animal Crossing, there's so much grinding in Animal Crossing to get all the things if you really become a collector. Paper Mario, it's like, sit down on the couch, play for a half hour, play for an hour, and, make a little progress. The controls aren't very hard. It's not like if you put it down for 2 weeks, you will forget where you were, what you were doing, or how to do X, Y, or Z. It's pretty straightforward. So that's a good game for the summertime, I think. I haven't been playing a ton of games lately, but when I do, that's the last. I guess it's been out for about 10 days. It's been Paper Mario. So
yeah, I think Nintendo are very good at. Obviously they make a big splash when it's a Zelda game or a Pokemon game or something, but they can just sort of sit there and they almost quietly just release these games, and all of a sudden you look at the Switch and you go, oh my god, there's like 20 or 30 incredible games on this console that you can only play on the Switch.
Yeah, and I went back the other, we got a Switch Lite, and it was really Animal Crossing that caused this, because my son really wanted to play, and they've got those stupid restrictions that it's just awful the way that works. And this is like the part of Nintendo that I can't stand, was that we ended up making his Switch Lite the primary, which means that if he's not on the network, he can use it. And since it's the Switch Lite and it's portable, that seemed to make the most sense. And then the one that we already had, the original Switch, became the one that, has to check if you're connected to the internet before you can play a game, which every time it does the check, it makes me, it annoys me because I feel like I'm being, I don't know, I'm being judged somehow by Nintendo. But yeah, I mean, I was in that process. I had to then, because it was no longer the primary Switch, I put in a new micro SD card. I got like a 400 gigabyte one for really cheap, and started re-downloading some games, and realized there were some games early on that I bought because the Switch was new and there weren't as many games that I wouldn't buy now. Mm-hmm. But by and large, there are a lot of good games, and I still have games like, I don't know, the Yoshi game and Mr. Toad that I really should just play more of. And I never really got that far into because I was doing something else. And I've got plenty of games to play through to get me through being stuck at home in America for the next, I don't know how many more years we will be stuck at home. But yeah, I'm ready. I got my Switch, Rob.
Nice. And I guess finally in the rest of our game news, the Analogue Pocket is finally up for pre-order. I mean, it's not coming out till next year.
Yeah, so this was funny because, well, it's not funny really. A lot of people were very upset because originally they said it was coming out this year, and then they teased that there was going to be something happening on, I guess it was earlier this week. And when that day came, all it was pre-orders are open on August 3rd. And it's like, okay, so you had an announcement about a pre-order of a thing that you've now delayed to like mid 2021. I think it's May 2021. So it's a long way off. Now, it still looks amazing. There's more details. They've changed the design of the dock a little bit, the one that connects via HDMI to a TV. Mm-hmm. The resolution is really high on the screen. They have all these modes so you can emulate kind of the original screens of the games that you're playing, Game Boy Advance, that sort of thing. And, so that was all announced, and I think it looks fantastic. I'm not sure if I'm going to order one or not, though. I mean, the reality is it's a beautiful piece of hardware, and I almost just want one because it looks so nice. It's got that, I don't know. I mean, it's the best designed product I've seen other than like something that Apple's made. And it's better than most Apple products in terms of its looks, I think. I mean, it's really a nice piece of hardware. But, oh yeah, it's not an emulator. You have to put in original cartridges. So you have to find cartridges that still work, or replace the batteries in cartridges sometimes, because those Game Boy games are pretty old now, from the 90s or whatever. So I don't know. I'm very tempted to get it, but it would be definitely an extravagance given that I really don't have that many games lying around, and it would require me then to kind of like start digging back into eBay. I was in the process of trying to collect up a bunch of classic Game Boy and Game Boy Advance games and Game Boy Color games in March when the whole pandemic started. And at the time, it seemed like a really bad idea to have people's old games shipped to me to my house. So I stopped that cold, and it cured me of it for a while. But now I'm starting to think about it again.
Yeah, I mean, you're absolutely right. Like this, I'm sure. I mean, we've spoken about this probably 2 or 3 times now, I think. But like, yeah, as you say, it is a beautiful piece of hardware, but I can't justify. I mean, I would get. I'd probably get customs charges as well on top of that $200.
Yeah. Yeah, $200 seems like a pretty fair price, I think, kind of, for something with that's just such a nice piece of hardware, I guess.
Absolutely. I don't think it's overpriced, but I think for me, like, to spend $200 on this to play the one Game Boy game that I've got, which is a copy of Pokemon Yellow.
Right. Oh, I've got that too. Yeah, no, I know what you mean. And, if you want the dock, I think the dock is another $100. And, it is kind of an extravagance in that sense. It's like, well, I mean, it just seems like a really nice way to play your old games that are lying around. But, some of those games actually are fairly expensive on eBay these days. If you want to get into the classic Pokemon games or, some of the first party stuff from Nintendo, a lot of those games go for pretty high prices online these days. And you have to be careful because there are a lot of knockoffs and, fakes out there. And there are a lot with dead batteries where you get the game and you can't save because the battery doesn't work. So you have to then dissect, the cartridge and the batteries are soldered on. So you have to there are kits you can get on Amazon, of course, that it doesn't look that difficult, but you do have to kind of take out a little tiny screw with a special screwdriver and then deal with the battery and then put it all back together. And it's a little bit of a process, but I don't know. I mean, it strikes me as the kind of thing that'd be kind of fun to tinker with.
Oh yeah, for sure. It is a lot of effort and it's a lot of money. Like you say, it's $200 for the thing, but then the games on top of that. If you've got to mess about with batteries and trying to get the games, it's an absolute minefield out there. But
yeah, it has a micro SD slot, and I know that you were hoping that might be that might work with emulation, but I do think that that's probably it has an onboard synthesizer program for making music, and I bet that's probably for saving out to locally to an SD card.
Yeah, you're probably right. I mean, let's see when somebody's got their hands on one if they manage to make it run ROMs, because then we'd be talking.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Oh dear. Well, yeah, I think it had been a few weeks, and then we waited for the Xbox event because that was really disappointing. So we probably didn't need to.
We probably didn't need to wait for that, but we had the Pocket as a result, so that's good.
Yeah, and the KFC Crocs as well. So.
Oh yes, there's nothing more important than the KFC Crocs in my book.
Do you know what? I wonder if anybody's got any on eBay already, because they went on sale yesterday.
Oh.
So I am going.
You should send me the link because
KFC
I think
Crocs. Oh my heavens.
What?
Where's the sold listings? They're selling for about $200.
Oh no, we missed our opportunity to become I don't know, rich Crocs resellers.
And you are absolutely right. The chicken on the front is actually part of the shoe.
There you go. See, that's.
Yeah, this particular pair sold for $210.
Oh man, you and I should have been online buying our Crocs yesterday. That's all I know.
We've really missed.
I don't know what I was doing. Yeah, I don't know what I was doing or what I was thinking, but I certainly wasn't thinking about chicken flavored Crocs.
Nice. Yeah, the cheapest you can buy a pair right now is about $200.
Do you think they taste like chicken too, Rob?
I definitely have to lick them and find out.
You have to,
I would
lick your shoes. That's a normal thing. That's a normal thing people do.
Well, we all licked our Switch cartridges to see how bad the taste was. So
yeah, we kind of did, didn't we? I'll admit it. I did. It was really bad.
Yeah, it was terrible. It was just a bunch of adults just licking cartridges to see.
It was horrible.
Oh dear.
Oh man.
Well, anyway. On that note, I am going on holiday tomorrow, so
good.
This has been a nice end to my very short work week.
Oh, very good. And say hello to the Queen for me, will you?
Oh, I will, of course. Yeah, she'll be there. Who else will be there?
I figured she was one of the honored guests.
Oh, of course, always. The Queen goes on everyone's holiday. Just she turns up and says hello.
Turns up on the beach, says hi.
Right, exactly.
All right. Well, like I said, enjoy the beach and enjoy hanging out with the Queen.
Oh yeah, I will.
And all right, talk to you later.
Speak to you later. Bye.